Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today's explainer is taking a seriously fascinating journey into what is arguably the most critical skill any of us can develop right now, and that is mastering our own attention. Seriously, if you've ever felt like your brain literally has a mind of its own, dragging you miles away from what you actually want to be doing, trust me, you are definitely not alone. Okay, let's dive into this and explore a really powerful story that maps out exactly how to tame that wandering mind. So think about this for a second. What is actually stronger than talent, luck, or intelligence? I mean, we place so much value on those three things, don't we? We totally envy the naturally talented, we constantly pray for a lucky break, and we revere raw, innate intelligence. But what if I told you there's a singular trait that absolutely overrides all three of those? Well, to find the answer, we're going to trace the journey of a young, highly intelligent boy named Kabir, who discovered a secret that literally transformed his entire life. You see, Kabir had a massive problem. Despite being incredibly smart, his mind was just absolutely chaotic. I mean, it jumped, it sprinted, it darted from thought to thought to thought, kind of like a restless, panicked bird just bouncing around a cage. His father saw this happening and gave him this profound piece of advice. He said, "Son, your mind is like a wild horse. If you do not control it, it will take you in the wrong direction. Discipline your mind, and it will take you anywhere you want to go." Now, just imagine that wild horse for a second. Bucking, totally unpredictable, running at full speed without a rider. That was Kabir's brain. Fast, yes. Powerful, for sure, but entirely out of control. Section 1. The restless mind and the true anatomy of distraction. Let's look at the trap Kabir was actually stuck in. This is the war going on inside Kabir's head, and honestly, inside a lot of our heads too. On one hand, you've got these noble intentions, right? He really wanted to read, he fully intended to get his important work done. But the reality, well, the exact moment he tried to focus, he was hijacked by thoughts of playing games or checking his phone or just hanging out with friends. You know the exact feeling. You sit down to work, and suddenly you're like 3 hours deep into watching videos of cats falling off furniture. It's crazy. That friction between what we actively intend to do and what our distracted minds actually force us to do, that's the core struggle of the restless mind. Moving right along to Section 2, the glass of water, a test of focus. So because Kabir wasn't exactly taking his father's advice to heart, it was time for an intervention. He was taken to meet an old, incredibly wise teacher named Guruji, who decided to give him a physical test. Guruji calmly handed Kabir a small glass of water, filled right to the very brim. And the challenge he issued was incredibly straightforward. Hold this glass and don't spill a single drop while walking around my garden. On paper, this sounds almost ridiculously simple, doesn't it? It's just walking and holding a glass. But Guruji knew exactly what he was doing. This wasn't a physical test of balance at all. It was a mental trap, perfectly designed to expose a completely scattered attention span. The second Kabir stepped into the garden, reality hit him hard. The environment was just alive with all this sensory noise. Birds were chirping super loudly up in the trees. The wind was blowing, causing the leaves to rustle all unpredictably. And just off in the distance, other kids were playing and laughing. Every single time one of these noises happened, Kabir's head whipped around to look. His wild horse of a mind just chased every single sound. And with every quick turn of his head, splash, water spilled right over the edge. By the time he actually made it back to Guruji, half the glass was entirely empty. No. What's really interesting about this slide is how Guruji breaks down this seemingly simple exercise into a profoundly deep metaphor for life. That glass you are holding, that represents your ultimate goal or purpose in life. The water inside it, that's your finite focus and attention. And the noise in the garden, the birds, the wind, the laughing, well, that is the endless stream of worldly distractions constantly pulling at us. Guruji's lesson was crystal clear. If you do not discipline your mind to stay fixed on your purpose, you will spill your potential and you'll literally lose everything before you even realize it's gone. That moment was a massive wake-up call for Kabir. The wild horse had finally been exposed. But as we know, awareness isn't enough, right? You need actual action. Which brings us right into Section 3, training the mind and building the habit of focus. And this brilliantly illustrates how Kabir didn't just try to magically be better. He actually built a strict system. Step 1, waking up at the exact same time daily to set a rock-solid biological rhythm of discipline. Step 2, strictly limiting phone use, basically cutting off the main source of artificial distraction right at the knees. Step 3, meditating for just a few minutes every single morning to actively train his mind to remain calm and steady. And finally, Step 4, giving his absolute undivided attention to just one single task at a time. Multitasking? Completely thrown out the window. Because building focus is a trained skill, guys. It is not some overnight miracle. On day one, it was incredibly difficult. Kabir's mind still wandered constantly, but his real victory was in the act of continually pulling it back to the task at hand, just pulling the horse's reins over and over again. But weeks later, the compounding interest of this habit really kicked in. The source material notes his memory noticeably improved, and his grades just shot straight up. And a year later, Kabir felt prepared enough to enter a major, highly competitive national competition. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 4, the ultimate test. The pressure and panic are truly on. This national competition was absolutely brutal. The questions were exceptionally tricky, designed specifically to confuse and overwhelm the students. And while an untrained mind naturally reacted with panic and overwhelm, sweating, the ticking clock, and staring at this massive packet of questions, Kabir remained perfectly calm and steady. He didn't look at the whole packet in terror. Instead, he applied Guruji's lesson. He focused his attention on just one single question at a time. He just held his glass steady. And the result of that intense laser-like focus? Kabir was actually declared the absolute winner of the entire national competition. The whole village cheered for him, and Guruji, that wise old teacher, smiled with just immense pride. Kabir had fully transformed himself from a boy who literally couldn't read a single page without checking his phone into a true champion of focus.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the power of discipline, and our final lesson.
So the crucial point is this. Kabir proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that a trained, disciplined mind is infinitely stronger than natural talent. It will absolutely beat pure luck over the long run, and it is even more powerful than innate intelligence. Remember, Kabir was always a smart kid, but his intelligence was totally useless when his mind was acting like a wild horse. It was only when he actually applied discipline that his true, staggering potential was fully unlocked. I want to leave you with this final, really provocative question today. Will you decide to discipline your mind and start your next chapter of success right now, today? We all have a glass of water to carry. We all have a garden full of noise to walk through. The only real question is whether you'll let that noise spill your potential or if you'll grab the reins, train your focus, and finally master your mind. If this explainer sparked even a little bit of motivation in you today, please don't let it fade. Share this framework with someone who might be struggling with their own wild horse. Thanks so much for diving deep into this with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.